how's it going? It's Sam Frost here, and in this short video I want to answer a really common question I get asked quite frequently by prospective clients, existing clients, businesses I'm working with, and even end users of Google's search tools. And that question is, do people actually even click on Google Ads? So you might go and make a search for something like car insurance or cheap laptops or best plumber near me or anything like that, and as you'll be probably aware, there are a few different components to a Google search result these days, one of the most prominent being the ads that often sit at the top above the organic search results. Do people actually click on these? The reason I get asked this question is often people will come to me with a kind of view of, hey, I don't click on Google Ads. I go on Google and I search for things and I know that there's an ad and I know that there's an organic listing, and I'd rather click on the organic listing because I don't want to necessarily click on something that someone's paid to have put in front of me because I don't think that the information is going to be so good, or I don't think that the result is going to be as relevant to my needs. And I can totally see why people would have that mindset. It makes pretty good sense to me. If you do something a particular way, pretty common to think that other people might do the same thing, at least more frequently than is actually true in reality. But the truth is that people do click Google Ads. In fact, Google Ads is basically Google's largest source of revenue. So in the year 2021, just started a new year, but last year Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, they posted a series of massive, in some cases record quarterly profits, and a huge amount of that is driven off search advertising and wider advertising revenue. So there's the Google Ads ecosystem that basically sits as a massive component of Alphabet's revenue. It's about 80%, from what I can gather. Of course, the exact figures differ depending on the quarter and year and so on. But about 80% of Google's revenue, in effect, comes through the Google Ads ecosystem. Now, not all of this is search revenue. There's actually revenue that comes from YouTube advertising. YouTube advertising is one of the fastest growing sort of revenue streams for Alphabet and for Google. There's also the display advertising side of things as well. But when I'm talking about Google Ads here and whether people click them, primarily people are referring to search ads because they've gone on Google and searched for car insurance quotes or, cheap shoes or something like that. And basically, those ads will pop up, and some people like to click on them and some people don't. But people do click on Google Ads in very big numbers. Now, if we look at 2020, for example, I saw a CNBC report that stated around $104 billion of Alphabet's revenue, or Google's revenue in effect, could be ascribed to search advertising. Now, that figure also includes other search elements, so things like Google Maps and other kind of search areas that Google can put advertising into. So there are, some exceptions or kind of additions in there. It's not all that main Google search activity, but probably a vast majority of it comes from those direct Google searches. Depending on where you look for information, people seem to think around 70 to 80% of the total revenue, from Google Ads is driven off the search component, the rest coming from these other areas like YouTube and display and search partners and Google Maps and so on. So it's a huge amount, tens of billions of dollars a year basically that Alphabet, Google's parent company, is earning from search advertising. So if they're earning that much money from ads, well, what does it tell us? It means people are running ads because that's how Google gets the money. Businesses are clearly happy to pay for this advertising. And at the end of the day, businesses wouldn't pay for it if they weren't seeing any results. If no one was seeing the ads and no one was clicking, well, then it would stand to reason that Alphabet, Google would earn no money from that advertising. It's a pay-per-click model, and so to earn that kind of revenue, tens, hundreds of billions of dollars, you've got to have a pretty substantial volume of clicks going through the system. So it's very clear that people do click Google Ads. Millions and millions of people every year search for things and they click on the ads that come up, and they're more than happy with the information that comes through. In fact, there's some evidence to suggest that for high commercial intent searches, people are more likely to click on a Google search ad than they are an organic listing. So a high commercial intent search might be something like best laptops for students, for example, or cheap car servicing near me. Those kind of searches where you've clearly got something in mind, you want to buy a product or a service, you're in that mindset of going out to purchase something, you go on Google and search. What are you going to click on? You're probably going to click on one of the first things that come up. We know that people tend not to look too far down the page on Google. If you're not in that top half of the page, you're struggling basically. So ads have that inherent advantage of sitting at the top. And the other piece that goes with it is that with ads, as an advertiser, you can sculpt the messaging to that specific keyword. You can include, much more easily than you can with organic listings, things like references to sales or promotions you've got. You can basically tailor your messaging a bit more as well, and that also helps to encourage people to click. So, it might be that you sell laptops, you run ads for best laptops for students because you sell great laptops for students, and you rank both organically and in the ads, but actually you might wind up with a stronger click-through rate and kind of better click performance off your advertising side of things, simply because you can sculpt and tailor the messaging better to fulfill the demands of that search versus what Google might display from your organic listings or organic content. So yeah, do people even click on Google ads? Yes, they sure do. Even if you never click on them yourself, there are plenty of other people out there who do. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, I don't like using Google ads, but maybe my customers do, you're on the fence about it, you're not quite convinced, it's definitely worth trying. In my experience, all but the most niche of businesses can kind of find a home on Google ads. You might not get as much volume in terms of people seeing your ads and clicking as you'd like, but for 99% of businesses that I've worked with at least, there is definitely a role to play on Google ads. It might not be a huge role, but you can certainly make it part of your advertising mix online. So yeah, hopefully you found that helpful. I'll leave some links in the video description to sort of up-to-date stats that you can look at, because obviously there's change. But yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments section. Please like this video and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.